What up?
What's up?
God damn, that was seductive. Anyway, so listen, a couple of days, let's say last Thursday, which would be like the 27th, I guess, of last month, February 27th or so, maybe.
Last Thursday?
Yeah.
Let's have a look just for the sake of argument.
All right.
Nah, last Thursday was March 4th.
No.
Or the Thursday before would be the 25th of February.
25th, okay. So on the 25th, I was out at Old Town and started looking around in some shops, and I found these two books. I bought them for $2 a piece. All right, and
that's the Cat in the Hat, and the Cat in the Hat comes back.
That's right, you know. And
that's right, boy.
Little did I know that only 2 days later I would see this thing about Loudoun County schools canceling Cat in the Hat books, right? Yeah. So I'm like, man, that's crazy. They're already canceling it. You know what I mean? Or they're canceling Dr. Seuss. That's crazy. How is this happening? Turns out it went so far as to, on National Book Day, which happens to be Dr. Seuss's birthday,
right.
Biden left him out of the speech.
Yeah.
Now, Pazaki, or Pazaki, that's her name, said that it was the school system. She bucked it off on them, saying they didn't put him in the curriculum of the speech, so Biden just didn't read it off, right? But, then, you do a little deeper research, and they have some issues with some of the stuff that Dr. Seuss has put out, saying that it's insensitive, racist material. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but it could also be interpreted as that they're feeling sensitive to it because it's about them.
Well, the school system's run by all kinds of people. I mean, basically the school system, if you want to say that it's segregated, it's men and women. That, because it's mainly women and there's a few men. That's the segregation of the school system.
But, that's a sample size of a much larger issue.
Right. Well, I got a few examples of the stuff that Dr. Seuss did.
Yeah.
Some of it is rather outrageous, so be prepared. I don't want to trigger anybody, but we are going to go over some of these pictures and, give our opinions on them. So, all right, so number one, obviously, this is what it is. Let me ask you, first of all, what do you think when you see that the African people have white lips? What do you think about that?
Well, the natural inclination of somebody triggered would be like, I ain't trying to make this motherfucker look like a monkey.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They're like, that's what a motherfucker gonna see if they gonna be triggered by the shit.
Right. Well, the common, like, old school cartoony defense is that they can't draw just a black line for a smile on an already black figure. So they had to leave a spot there to make
in order to there to be a mouth.
Right.
Yeah.
And they made it actually in color versions. It would be red, not white.
Yeah.
But anyway,
we saw that in one of the pictures.
So they're boiling up something, and up in the second panel, a mosquito comes in.
Let me ask you this question: like, do you think if this same thing was in color, that dynamic would still be there? About the fact that it's in black and white and not in color?
Yeah, it would be different. Yeah, it would be.
Go ahead.
Okay, so the second panel, the mosquito's coming in. Third panel, he's about to hit the king, and then the white man pops out of the cauldron. Basically, they're eating a man, number one. Like Africans eat people. And then he uses his pesticide. Like the white man uses his pesticide to save the king from the deadly mosquito malaria. You know what I mean? So, there's a lot to this that makes it problematic, to say the least, right? But moving on, let's go to the next. Do you have anything else to say about this? Does anything pop up?
No.
All right, so moving on to the next photo, we've got... now this woman's putting this on her animals. I don't know why exactly.
Is it? The caption, the secret of success of jungle photographers in getting close-ups.
The secret of the success of jungle photographers in getting close-ups. Okay. They use flit to fucking knock out the animals.
Put them in the eyes?
I really could never figure out exactly what the point of this was. But I think maybe it has to do with keeping bugs off of like the animals,
or maybe it's an out done in a satirical way.
Yeah,
it could be an out. You know what I'm saying?
It's possible. Now notice that the safari master or the photographer has with him an African either guide. I would say probably it's a guide because he's got a weapon. He has a spear on him. They let him have a spear, so he's probably willingly there. But I just never really could put together exactly what the jive behind this was. You know what I mean? But moving on. Here we see a bunch of these Africans using this flit, I guess, to keep the flies away. I think it keeps the elephants happy. So the what is that caption? Wife on vacation. Wait, wife on vacation, king? Vacation nothing. Nice girl, but I simply had to swap her in for this flit gun. Like they have such a fly problem in Africa. That having
he traded his wife for a flit gun, basically.
Right, for some pesticide. It's kind of, I don't know. It does bring up like images of like whatever that girl was, Suzanne Summers, going off to Africa and getting fat, and like the children always had flies on their eyes and mouth, and all those videos. Remember the commercials, like for just 7 cents a year, you can feed an entire world of people. It's like, what the fuck? You mean feeds your ass while you were there? Anyway, so this one also, I would need a little reference. I'm not exactly sure what was happening at the time, but it looks like they're referencing a Chinese invasion. That they're making their way across the country from Washington to Oregon to California, and every Asian man is getting a pack of dynamite, and on the top it says that they're waiting for the signal from home. You know, like
but when I like I said, when I saw that, I was like, "What is the honorable fifth column? What the fuck does that mean?"
You know, I really couldn't.
That's something to look into,
right? So number one, all the Asian people have the same face. We'll notice that, right? Immediately. So
right, but see,
you can see how that would be problematic for certain people.
True, but also at the same token, bro, that could be an Easter egg, man. You know why?
Huh?
Because those are people you never look at.
With the Asian people?
No, I mean, like you said, the motherfuckers all look the same. You know what I'm saying? After you looked at a couple, it's like, oh, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So how many motherfuckers you ain't gonna pay no attention to in real life?
Right. So to answer your question about the honorable fifth column, a fifth column is a group of people residing in a given country who work to actively support a wartime enemy of that country from within by engaging in espionage or sabotage, or who engage in such activities in anticipation of war. So it would be an entire group of people here in America steadily preparing to fight from within if a war breaks off, to weaken the inside so the outside can be cracked, right? So that's what this is, kind of like anti-Asian propaganda, right? We don't even know if this is Chinese people because it doesn't say. It just looks like Chinese people, right? Yeah. Is it Japanese, Korean? Who knows? It's just Asian people, and that's kind of racist in itself, right? For me to say, oh, those look like Chinese people. You know what I mean? Anyway.
But like I said, it kind of leads to that point, though. You know what I'm saying? If you look at that shit and see all them faces the same,
right?
Equate that to the human mentality in real life. You know what I'm saying? Most people don't go so far as to like trying to differentiate, every person of Orient descent and what particular country they might be from.
Right.
They classify, oh, you're Asian. You know what I'm saying? And which makes that pool of all of them look the same even bigger, and the motherfuckers you ain't paying no attention to when you walk past them in the street or anything.
Right. So if there was a war between us and China, then Japanese people would get shit too.
Oh,
if it was here.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Korean people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Every Asian.
Yes, person. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that shit like I'm happy about it either, but yeah, that's just what the fuck is gonna happen.
Well, do you think that if there was a war between blacks and whites, that every African person or every like Russian person would have to look out because even though they're not technically Americans, they'd all have to look out.
Because that's how the ignorant mob mentality gonna see the shit.
Right. Well,
in black and white.
Luckily, let's just disclaimer right now that probably won't even happen because there's not enough extremists for it to be anything more than like a little local event that happens somewhere. It won't like spread out. It won't. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, you try that shit, you'll get busted down real quick. But anyway.
Right.
Next slide.
This one here. Oh man. So I am not exactly sure who this is. Is this Laurel? It says Laval at the bottom, so I think it might be Laurel from Laurel and Hardy, maybe.
Laval. I don't know who that is.
Right. I couldn't get much information on this. It came from a satirical magazine that was published back from the 1861 to 19 something. So I mean, Dr. Seuss was doing his thing in the late 1800s.
Well, you said he was born in 1904 or some shit?
Oh, yeah. Well, he died. Exactly. I'm sorry.
The publication started back then.
And Seuss was allowed. I'm sorry. You know, I misspeak because it's too much information to take in at once.
I'm just saying, I ain't trying to misquote the man's age or nothing either. You know
No, you're right. He died in, what did you say, 91?
Yeah.
So he dies in like 91, and I don't know how old he was. So he must have been born in the 1900s. But
at the beginning of the
1900s. The specific satirical magazine had been around for a while. You know what I mean? And it was like put there in rebellion to a larger magazine company that was in effect. Well, I'll put some more information down. I'll put a little link here.
Also, you also got to remember too the propaganda machine. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, this could be, using as an example of that shit, that Hitler might have used. You know what I'm saying? There's different viewpoints you could take from this shit. You know what I mean? Except for, the literal words that's up there. It's like, you see those and it's just like, whoa.
My problem is, like, that we have a bunch of hanging Jews on the background.
That's what I'm saying. And it says Jew on every last single one of them.
Every single one of them, it says that. And it says, only God can make a tree to furnish sport for you and me. Meaning, like, only God could make this beautiful tree that I use to hang you, like...
For sport. And that's an even damninger word right there, bro.
Yeah. The fact that it's termed as sport makes it unforgivable. You know what I mean? Unforgivable. Uncontrollable. You ever seen the movie with Ice-T where he has to run from all the white guys that are hunting him?
Oh, yes, I have. Surviving the Game.
Oh, yeah, bro.
That was a good fucking movie.
Yeah.
That was a good fucking movie.
It was, man. But it was definitely a...
And that's an old movie, too, bro.
Example of what we're talking about here. So, one thing I want to go ahead and clarify real quick. The name of the publication that all of these later ones are from, the more racist ones, are from a satirical publication called Jude Magazine. Yeah. Weekly Satirical.
Okay, now.
It was from 1881 to 1947 that it was published. So sometime in the early 1900s, probably the later period of the magazine, Dr. Seuss was doing satirical work after he had done his advertising. So what now?
Just for the record, you know what I mean? So, people don't get confused. What does the word satire mean?
Satire, yeah,
look it up.
And mock, it means to mock, to jokingly mock.
So you can't get this shit dead.
To jokingly mock something.
Yeah, the use of irony, sarcasm, ridicule, or the like in exposing, denouncing, or deriding vice, folly, etc.
So, I think that what we need to realize as we move on, satire, meaning to mock or criticize something.
Because you disagree with it.
Is that what it's about? Disagreement? or is it just anything? Because I
Well, use the word scorn in there.
right, and I would say that he is mocking and criticizing because he doesn't agree. I also would like to point out that Hitler has the noose around his arm
Yeah.
and his arm over the shoulder of Lovall, who I think sounds very close to Laurel from Laurel and Hardy. Looks exactly like him, right?
I don't know who that is.
Laurel and Hardy? The Hardy? No? Okay. Well, anyway, they're not the Hardy boys, but they're definitely... He's a Hardy fellow. Laurel's the little skinny one. Doesn't talk. Anyway.
Yo, this shit.
Laurel and Hardy are some old school comedians from back in the day, and they all had political beliefs, kind of like Groucho Marx style comedians.
Mm-hmm.
They all were like Marxists, honestly, like, you know, like socialist style. Anyway, moving on. Oh, whoa, bro.
All right, so this one was from the exact same publication.
The
right?
same satirical
Okay, same
publication.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
What do we say about this?
Well, again, you know what I'm saying? When you showed me this joint earlier, bro, like, you know, the first thing that, you know, I said after I read the little plaque on the wall and shit, was, you know, where's this shit coming from? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got you. I understand that, but I mean, we're talking about people who are taking this at face value.
Right. Because they don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't do that.
Do you think that today that this would be appropriate comedy?
You're definitely not going to get that shit to fly now. You know what I'm saying? In the 1930s, maybe. You know what I'm saying? You know, that might have been worse shit than that. I don't fucking know. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, you know, it wasn't a far cry to think that, you know, motherfuckers was popping off with that word back then. Freely.
Right.
Different time.
Yeah, it was a different time. A time of the honeymooners or Archie Bunker, when it was like old racist white dude, you know, or fucking Red Fox, an old racist black man. You know what I mean? Or the honeymooners. You know what I mean? He used to fucking argue with his wife, and the whole thing, his whole deal was, one of these days, Alice, boom, straight to the moon, I'm telling you. Like, I'm going to beat the shit out of you one day, woman. You know what I mean? Like,
that was the whole shtick for the show, too.
When she would piss him off, he would say that, you know, one of these days, Alice, straight to the moon.
Yeah, that shit wouldn't fly on TV now today either.
No, it wouldn't.
You know what I'm saying?
It wouldn't at all. But my whole thing is, when I look at this, I think some seriously racist things were being thought and taking place to have this be even a part of the narrative. Right? Some shit must have been going down. Either Seuss was very, very, very racist, or the things that he was trying to bring to attention were very, very racist.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I think that he should get a little bit of credit in the end
For just addressing it that way?
Just benefit of the doubt, maybe not credit.
Okay.
The benefit of the doubt that he may have been doing this as, you know, a protest.
Yeah, a whistleblow, basically.
Yeah, exactly. And which brings up a whole other aspect of this whole Dr. Seuss thing. What does this say about people in the cancel culture today and their ability to redeem themselves at all? What does this say about their chances of getting out? Like, even if you had something from back in literally the 1940s,
right,
and all the way up until 1991, when you die as a person who is celebrated for his achievements and donations to children, did he redeem himself by the time he was dead? By the time he was almost 90, did he redeem himself?
Even that in itself is a problem, bro, because, you know what I'm saying, like, cancel culture, like, who the fuck are you and who the fuck made you the gatekeeper to sit up here and try to equate, you know what I'm saying, somebody's do-goodings in this motherfucking life, man? Or the mistakes they made, nigga, like, long before you was even born, before cancel culture was even a thing. Before the internet was a thing.
Listen, I can understand being wary as a parent, as a person in the world, of like maybe left behind little nuggets of like subliminal messaging left by assholes. I'm aware that, you know, we got to watch out for little nuggets of racism that may have slipped through the cracks.
Right.
You know, but I don't agree with literally tearing apart, you know, Mark Twain's literature to take the N-word out of Huck Finn. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't believe in that. So there's got to be a fine balance in figuring it out. Now, if there's something that was inherently, insidiously racist hidden in Dr. Seuss's books, I would say take them out. But as it is, we're facing 6 of his books being canceled, right? 6 of them.
Yeah.
And none of them was The Cat in the Hat or The Cat in the Hat Comes Back, which I have copies of right now, and they're going to be available for sale because this one right here was like $60, and this one here, unbeknownst to me, was like almost $100 when I checked them on eBay. So anyway, we bring this around to what does it say for our culture? Now, let's tie this as a segue, okay? Can they stop us from reading books we've read before or watching movies that we've watched before?
Like, I mean, the way you were building the whole premise, bro, like, you know what I'm saying, it's sound, you know what I'm saying? And I think the larger part of the problem is, you know what I'm saying, you know, trying to take a stand in the now, but still trying to dig back at the same token. It's like, nigga, you trying to stop the whole locomotion or the whole locomotive. You know what I'm saying? So
for something that happened in
like before these motherfuckers even born,
nearly a century ago.
Before these motherfuckers even born. You know what I mean? And it's like, bro, if you on this motherfucking fake ass mission and shit, bro, you know, there's all kinds of motherfucking shit that's way bigger that, you know, all are, you know, running down this avenue you trying to work that are way bigger and shit, and them niggas ain't touching that shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
But to your point, no, it shouldn't. You know what I'm saying? Like that stuff is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is.
All right. Well, let me ask you this then: if they can say that we can't read these 6 books, right, from Dr. Seuss, and the publishing company agrees and says and gives in and says, fine, we won't produce those 6 books anymore, then what is to stop them from saying, hey, we think this movie from back in the day is way too ethnically like offensive or too white, and let's say The Last Samurai with Tom Cruise.
I just want.
Can they take it away?
I just want to go somewhere real quick, like just to be clear about, you know, what the cancel culture is on. Is it pictures in these specific books, or is it words?
Well, all the books are pictures with words, Virtue.
I got it, but
you
it's
ever read a Dr. Seuss book? God damn, this guy. Hey, I got a class I'm gonna show you, man. You got to get through shapes and colors, and then you go to numbers and letters, right? Mm-hmm. And then eventually you can move on to like Dr. Seuss books.
Genius level shit.
I was just fucking with you, but okay, so I don't know. Yes, Virtue books. Words.
No. You misunderstand, man. Like the motherfuckers that's
I'm smacked. How am I supposed to?
The motherfuckers that's pissed off about this shit.
Mr. Understand.
Like, what do they
understand, or are you Mr. Understand?
What are they pissed off about? Are they pissed off about some of the pictures in these books, or are they pissed off about some of the words in the book?
Yeah. So I'll flash up a picture real quick in 3, 2, 1. So this is the other one that I saw that's actually in a book. I don't know if there's more, but I just picked this one because it seemed like an example of what they might be mad about. So we like our bike. It's made for 3. Our mic sits up in the back, you see. And then on the other page, we like our mic. And this is why Mike does all the work when the hills get high. Mm-hmm. So basically, it's 2 little white kids that carry around this simian slave to do all the work for them when they need to. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So I guess that's basically their biggest issue with it.
Is that it's supposed to represent a black person?
You know, I think if you think it does, then you're a racist. I think if you see something like that and you think a person, then you're a racist. You know, but but also knowing what we know about the quirky nature of Dr. Seuss and his prior works, it gives a little different twist to the fact that it's in this publication, something that is obviously clearly meant to provoke. I mean, it could be just a coincidence, but if I was a smart man rereading my proofs, you know what I mean? I would say, this is probably provocative in some way, shape, or form. You know, although I think removing it from the shelves may not be the right thing to do. Maybe if you're reading it to your class and you get to that point, say, now what do we see wrong here, class?
Use it as a teaching moment.
Right, use it as a moment of teaching.
Yeah, and that's still productive moving forward. You know what I'm saying? Not trying to dig back and, you know, grab a pencil and start erasing and rewriting shit in pencil that happened 40 years ago and shit. You know what I'm saying? Or longer. Right.
Or trying to be the one society that burned books and it was a good thing. You know what I mean? Like, never was it a good thing to destroy literature. We're still kicking ourselves for losing the Library of Alexandria. Now we don't know how to make our goats fly. Anyway, you know what I'm saying? Like, all the weird things that you could do.
No.
You don't equate it to, like, burning books, stopping publication of certain books.
Nah, it's it's a sample size of a much larger issue. You know what I'm saying? It kind of goes into what you were talking about. You know, is this some bullshit that can start bleeding over in the movies and shit like that? You know what I'm saying? I think it's something bigger than just the books.
Cancel culture, basically.
Yeah. Like, this shit is fucking stupid, man.
Now, like, did you ever watch that old movie about the Bible from back in the day? Charlton Heston, I believe, starred in it. There was like this whole big movie, the Bible, I believe it was called. You know, or the New Testament, something like that. I forget. But I watched it when I was a kid. Probably watched it a couple times. It shows like Noah taking the people through the desert and them being gluttonous, and it shows all these things. Him making the river split, and it closes in on the Romans, or not Romans, but the Egyptian soldiers.
No, you mean Moses.
Moses, yeah, whatever. No, I get all of them mixed up because with their beards, they all look the same to me, right? They all look like they're in ZZ Top. I don't know.
You know what's funny? It's funny that you mention that shit, bro, because, you know, some of the images that we saw from Dr. Seuss go along that same line of thinking, right?
Yeah.
And
how so?
Well, how you said they all look the same to you because they all got a beard. So the names,
like the Asian,
the name, yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, and the thing is, it's like, all right, well, you know what? I ain't gonna sit up here and be like, all right, fuck you. You know, fuck that. You need to be dropped back down to the goddamn to the sixth level of hell, never to return again, just because you thought or said that shit.
One of those, man.
Yeah, but like, you understand what I'm saying? And it's like to that point, bro. It's like how motherfuckers gonna feel about that shit, man. One of the questions you ask yourself about the Dr. Seuss books and shit. How many characters he got in the books and shit that are not even humanoid? You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I mean? So then you look at it from that perspective, it's like my nigga, all that shit is just, it's weird. You know what I'm saying? It's not okay, we'll use the Simpsons as an example. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The Simpsons is atypical for a show and shit, but it still has that, you know, that common people kind of feel to it and how they look and how they're drawn, and it's like you already know it's people. Even though there's some off-brand shit too. Right. You know what I'm saying? South Park the same way, but then they got some Jones where it's off the wall, like Towley. You know what I'm saying? You know,
Mr. Hanky the Christmas poo.
Yeah, that motherfucker. You know, Satan, all that shit. You know what I mean? But it's like, you know, for how the character base is for these books and shit. You know what I mean? Yeah, they got, you know, some people, but most of the characters are all off-brand and weird and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's not normal.
Well, I mean, yeah, exactly. But here's the thing, man. I want to go back to this whole, like, if you talk about the older movies, you had Charlton Heston or Yul Brynner playing in these movies, right? Like Ben-Hur, where they had to have ethnic people, but they didn't have any ethnic people because it's Hollywood. Yeah. So they made themselves ethnic. They used blackface. They used blackface to make these movies. To make Indians, they would paint themselves and act like Indian and say things like Ohio and Omaha, right? But that's all they had then.
Yeah.
And there's still people to this day who watch those
as far
old...
as creativity and budget. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But go ahead.
I like to bring people's attention that Hollywood is not a company. Hollywood is a place where a few people who had cameras and equipment used them to make the plays watchable on a big screen.
Yeah.
Because plays were a big thing back then.
Yeah.
And they wanted to make it watchable.
It was a transition.
It was from silent film over to movies.
Audio recordings to records, CDs, tapes, ADATs, all that bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Same deal. Yeah.
And from the very beginning, the very first people that grabbed their cameras and started recording, nobody has rights to that.
Yeah.
Nobody has a right to step in and say, you can't record this or that or this or that, unless it's the government trying to propagandize you and say you can't say anything against our leader like they do in communist countries, right? Yeah. But here, Hollywood was all about wow, you could do anything, right, and be anything. Mm-hmm. And it's a dream that spreads out and people see it and they want it too. Mm-hmm. A lot of people that aren't from that group that had the cameras. So they come to Hollywood, and they make their own companies. See, that's what Hollywood is a group of competing film agencies that one's bigger than the other. You know what I mean?
All occupying the same space.
Exactly. If some of them want to be so inclusive that they do this Netflix series, Bridgerton, I think is what it's called, where they allow a black actress to play the Queen of England, which never happened, right? Couldn't have happened because of bloodline rules, but they allowed her to play, right? Let's just say I'm that black actress, and I really want to play a fucking part. But somebody says, no, you can't because you're not white. Mm-hmm. Well, this company was like, sure you can. Mm-hmm. They're allowed to do that. Right? Anybody wants to not watch it is welcome to not watch it. And I do think that, in a way, it kind of makes certain bitter people stand out. Like, they turn red, and we can see them in the crowd. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because I don't really believe that there's a threat there. Letting a black woman play Batman doesn't mean that you can never again watch Christian Bale or Michael Keaton or Val Kilmer or whoever you want to watch.
Yeah, unless, people have come to accept that, what they see from movies is reality type shit. You know what I'm saying? Which lies an even bigger problem. But yeah.
Or unless those companies allow themselves to be bullied by the big corporations and cancel actual artwork that's already out.
Yeah, you're right.
So if they're canceling these 6 books,
bro, the whole shit is stupid, man.
If they're canceling these 6 books, why can't they go back and cancel all 3 installations of Batman so future generations of kids can only see the ethnically cleansed version, the ethnically popular version of Batman now, and none of our kids, our kids don't know our old movies.
Sure.
A lot of our kids these days, they only know the new versions of movies. You ask them about anything about Transformers or Superman or anything, they only know the movies from today.
Right, they don't know the cartoon at all.
Right, so
what they had some off-brand jumps when they was coming up and shit, but you talking about the original.
Right. So you can, I think, literally within a generation or two, cleanse out an entertainment form.
I'm gonna take you back in the day real quick without cutting you off. You remember the very first movie that came out? The very first Transformers movie?
Oh, yes, I do. Motherfucker, I remember Rodimus Prime was standing there with the fucking... Or was it Rodimus? It was one of them was trying to get the Matrix open and it wouldn't open for him. He was like, God damn it! And I was like, he cussed. He was like, open, God damn it! I was like, oh, he cussed because I was a little kid. To me, God damn it, was like, whoa, he really went hard in this one.
Even more so because it's a cartoon, you know what I'm saying? It's
right.
Wow, that's real right there. You know what I mean? I've heard that shit before.
Right. It wasn't Optimus. It was the other white version of him that thought he was going to be leader. Yeah. But it turns out Rodimus was supposed to take over not the him. You know what I mean? I forget his name because I liked Rodimus. He was cool. But anyway, yeah. You know what I mean? Going back to that depth just makes me want to.
Are they going to reach back and cancel that shit because he said, God damn it? You know what I'm saying?
Probably not, because atheists are leaning and they're winning. So it's like they'll like that. You know what I mean? Like, they will. But I did like the thing that you showed me where it said 1,000 years from now, AI is going to cancel Megatron and R2D2. I'm like, why? What did R2D2 do? And it turns out the robots 1,000 years from now listen to him and they're like, oh, man.
He was a perv.
Right? He is saying some nasty shit. That's sexual harassment.
Right.
And, like, we don't know. We just...
like, I mean, and, like, how could you even, like, write out any sort of, like, statute in regards to AI sexual harassment? Like, how would that even work? Like, why? Because that's I tried to penetrate your network
with viral coding.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what the
you know what I mean? With explicit coding into my network, and now I can't get it out. And every time I load up my reset screen, I get to watch your dick flinging around, your cyber dick, like
in the loadout screen.
Right. Which, like, for some reason, like the top rated cyber dick is the one all the AI uses. Yeah, so everybody's got the same dick.
Yeah, but as I'm saying, the load out screen.
Right.
Right. Cyber jizz.
Eject, load.
Cyber jizz. Cyber jizz.
Oh, silicone.
Like, maybe that's what happened every time R2D2 started making noise. That's when he was coming cyber jizz. Like,
right. Nobody looked on the floor. There could have been like a lubricant stain left behind, and he rolls out like. Yeah. It's just done. Now I gotta go to bed, guys. Like, I just nutted. I'm going to bed. I just nutted. I'm going to go dump it under your pillow, and now I'm going to bed. And everybody's like, R2. They're going with the script. They're like all right, R2. But he's like on a whole nother level.
Right.
So, man.
Cyber jizz all over the walls.
I think it was just really kind of important to, like, range around and get to talking about this level of where racism is. Because I think it's more important for people to get to the idea where they realize you should feel happiness, acceptance, and maybe even a little flattery when somebody wants to imitate your artwork. If somebody likes Batman so much that some Chinese guy makes his own Batman, like, be like, yay, not like, hey, get off my playground. You know what I mean? Like, because that to me is just, that's the epitome of growing. When you can be not upset by something and instead inspired by something. You know what I mean? If you can take something that used to upset you and make it inspire you, you've grown.
True.
That's definitely right there. So, in closing, what would you like to throw in about all this? Are you going to buy any Dr. Seuss if you see it?
I don't know. I mean, I don't really be going to bookstores and shit, but, I might see the motherfucking 7-Eleven. You know what I'm saying? You never fucking know.